You there? Listen, they're coming for us. I left something for you in your room, though. I want to introduce you to a little friend of mine. Grenade launcher. Just point it at whatever you need to. Listen, if you get out here before I do, nuke the site from orbit. It's the only way to be sure.
Welcome back to Birds with Words. I'm your host, Sean Fitzgerald, the author of the Alone Together series. Today is not just a normal interview. We have something very special planned. It is April. So April, if you're not a huge fan like I am, hence the shirt, it is Alien Month because LV-426 is the planet from the movie Alien and Aliens. So in honor of LV-426, I decided that we need to honor some old heroes that didn't return back from their mission, but we're going to do it in the classic military style, and we're going to interview a gentleman who knows all about that, and we're going to dissect aliens from the military standpoint. So please welcome Chris. Hey, Chris, thank you so much for joining Birds with Words. I look forward to this. I've been looking forward to this for a while. Can you go ahead and tell the audience who you are and where we can find your books?
Yeah. We've been trying to set this up for a minute and stuff, and I kind of had some scheduling stuff that got it pushed back.
It is what it is.
But yeah, so you can find my books on Amazon. I guess we can drop a link or something like that. I'm on X also. I'm Chris_M_author. And I guess like my background for this one. Do you want to go into all that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, tell us why I chose you. I didn't just choose some random author to dissect aliens with me.
All right. Well, me and you both served in the military. I went to the Army, and I was infantry the whole time I was in the Army. Started out as National Guard, huge waste of time. Did like a couple years of that, realized that my unit was not going to Iraq, so I had to do something before I missed out. Went to Fort Bragg, tried out for a long-range surveillance company, and made that one. And then in 2010, 2011, we deployed with the Special Operations Task Force and Task Force Lightning to Afghanistan. So we were with like the ODAs and things like that. Then after that, I did armored infantry and like heavy infantry in Korea. And then I did more airborne infantry in Italy, where we did like cross training, got to like train the Ukrainians, went to Latvia, all over the Balkans and stuff like that, doing training with different multinational task forces. And now I am a federal agent in law enforcement.
Well, thank you so much for your service, Chris. And I think we're a little bit of a safer place because of people like you. And absolutely, I did it for you guys. So I always appreciate any support. Now, before we jump into it, I want people to know a little bit about you because, you know, this is about you as well as it is just the movie. So a couple of questions I always like to ask people, and for you in particular, I think this is going to be a fun one. So the world's ending. It's happening. The zombies are coming. Are you surviving?
Fuck yeah, I am.
I love the confidence. Everybody's like, oh, so far, everybody's like, no, probably not. And like, you're like, yeah, I've been waiting for this day.
Oh yeah, like I have a stock in my house just waiting for shit like that to happen. It's like this would be a glorious, glorious moment.
Perfect. I love to hear it. And the other question I always like to ask:
Are we talking about running zombies or shambling zombies?
You know, if you leave it up to me, I'm always going to pick the running zombies because I feel like the walking, shambling zombies, while they're terrifying, they don't become a threat unless you get like millions.
Right? The horde, right? Yeah. Whereas like the running ones is like you need to keep your fat ass in gear, otherwise it's like you're done.
What was that? Rule 1 cardio?
Yep, work on cardio, man. The double tap, the whole thing.
All right, so we're tearing apart aliens now. For everybody listening, I'm a huge Alien fan. I love the movie Alien, especially Aliens. And we're tearing this apart from a military point of view. So we're going to be talking the tactics and just the military guys themselves. And I'm not disparaging, you know, obviously our main girl Ripley in this. But if you're watching this thinking that we're going to talk about her, it's actually just going to be about the Marines. So you and I didn't do a whole lot of prep leading up to this. I shared you my notes, but you know, let's look at it from the first, like the outside perspective before we talk about the in universe. Which, for anybody listening, we're gonna have to tear apart a little bit of the universe itself because there's some awkwardness that they include in there, and we'll include that in like how it impacts the tactics, like leaving your ship unattended. That's
Yeah.
So they are Marines, and when they made Aliens, the director and the crew, I watched their interviews. They said that it was heavily inspired by the Vietnam War. We can see that. And one of the interviews I saw was he said, I based it so heavy on the Vietnam War that when I came back, I think it was his brother or a friend of his just came out of the Marines, and he's like, I didn't realize how disciplined Marines were. And he goes, looking back, I based the Marines and Aliens more off like regular Army from Vietnam than I did the Marines, which is probably, I agree. If you
it explains a whole lot, especially coming out of Vietnam, where it's like everybody's pissed off, disgruntled, doesn't want to be there, like freaking bucking command and authority and stuff like that.
And like you see a lot of that, like that's like some of the gear is Vietnam gear, just sci-fi it up.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So with that being said, one of the things that I see Goblin, because we are not unique in doing this, other guys have broken down Aliens before, is they always blame Gorman, which is the lieutenant, which there is a lot of blame to put on the officer. Former officer, myself, anything that does or doesn't happen in your unit is your fault.
Yes.
That being said, I do think that some of the soldiers, and especially their E7 APON,
I was going to say APON also shoulders that, because Gorman was an idiot, but I'm sorry, I know you were an officer, but we expect officers to be idiots. So it's like Gorman does not do good for his Marines. That officer says, and he just hard charges questions, and he leads his people into some bad shit. So, yeah.
So, the first part I want to talk about, and this first scene is really going to break it down for us, is the lack of discipline all the way up and down their organization. Now, Gorman, he tries to do his portion of it. I guess, if you're looking at this from a realistic standpoint, this is the op order brief, right? This is where we get introduced to them real time. We're going to see the Marines here. And what I want you to point out, I'll point out, is that he goes over what's happening and he gets interrupted immediately. And for me, that was a no-go. Like op order time, like everybody had their A game on. You knew, even if you didn't like your officer, you listened to what was going on. You had to know what the plan is. You're going to do your rehearsals, and you asked pertinent questions. All right. We don't.
You and I are going to have a good view on this one, because you had the officer side of the thing, and then I had the NCO side. So this is going to be a perfect thing to criticize on this one.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and jump right in.
As you work. Quickly. Settle down. All right, listen up.
Good morning, Marines. I'm sorry we didn't have time to brief you people before we left Gateway, but...
Sir?
What is it, Hicks?
Hudson, sir. He's Hicks.
What's the question?
Is this going to be a stand-up fight, sir, or another bug hunt?
All we know is that there's still no contact with the colony, and that a xenomorph may be involved.
Excuse me, sir. A what?
A xenomorph.
It's a bug hunt. What exactly are we dealing with here?
Ripley?
I'll tell you what I know. We sat down on LV-426. One of our crew members was brought back on board with something attached to his face, some kind of parasite. We tried to get it off. It wouldn't come off. Later, it seemed to come off by itself and die. Kane seemed fine. We were all having dinner, and it must have laid something inside his throat, some sort of embryo. He started...
Look, man, I only need to know one thing. Where they are.
So, immediately interrupted, right? Dude doesn't tell you what's going on at all.
I know this, like they were like regular Army, like in the Vietnam War, but I'm telling you this is like from the infantry side of the house and stuff like that. Absolutely nothing in that scene would have flown in even the slightest bit. Like you said, when your O is up in front of everybody and he has something to say, you shut the fuck up and you listen to what he has to say. And especially like if I recall, like freaking Hudson's not even like a corporal or something like that. Like he's like a dumbass private. Dude, when you're a private, especially in the Marine Corps and stuff, and in the Army, like in the infantry and stuff like that, it's like, dude, you should be so scared that if you even like accidentally shift your position the wrong way, you might be getting like fucked up. And all I was thinking was like my God, like I was like, if this is gonna be just like, dude, if I were that guy's NCO, I would have skull fucked him dry. Like he would have been done. I would have dragged him to the side and he would have been in the front lean and rest through the entire thing. And I would have told the platoon leader, like, hey, make this a extra long briefing, like extra long, so that it really sinks in and they really hear what's happening, while that guy's in the front lean and rest.
And so to your point, NCO, the only true NCO, we're not counting corporals because Hudson's a corporal, is Apon. He sits there quiet the entire, doesn't tell them to stow their shit at all.
Yep.
Which is like, I could only imagine, even my most timid NCOs of the time period would not have let that fly.
No. And the one who should have been on him was Hicks. Like Hicks is a corporal. It's like, and it's like the ones that are supposed to be, like if it's a staff sergeant or above, they shouldn't have to be dealing with that. That's the type of stuff for like E5 and E4s and stuff like that. So like, Army doesn't do corporals as much anymore, but like if you're a corporal, man, you better not even let that staff sergeant or that E7 even speak a word to that private. You should be on him, like just absolutely, and shutting him down. Like that, so that corporal should be over there like smoking the dog shit out of Hudson while the brief's going on.
And what this boils down to is, okay, so let's look at it from the historical perspective, right? They don't have a respect for the enemy that they're potentially going up against. Right?
Yeah.
Now, I think the video cut off a little bit before it said, like the lieutenant says, well, you have the entire briefing on a data disk. You don't, as an officer, you don't rely on the notes to teach your guys what's going on either. Mm-hmm. So that's a ding on Gorman himself. He should have gone over everything. Everybody should know exactly what they're going in. And look, I've been in plenty of like times where we knew that it was going to be like a training exercise and it was going to be a light thing. It's going to be like 2 or 3 guys, we have a whole platoon going against them. You still act like you're going to lose this fight. You're going to have all your plans in place. Yeah. Your secondary plans, you're going to go through all your routes. None of that's brief. And we see the fallout of not having a plan in place. So, that's cliche saying, like, if you don't plan, you are planning to fail. So that's exactly what's going to happen to these guys.
Already, it's like whatever this like deployment is already fucked up, because it's like you're potentially saying that it's like you've lost contact with an entire colony of people that at this point is like several hundred or several
it's like
thousand people. Yeah, and you send in one squad of Marines on a drop to face an enemy that could have potentially wiped out hundreds of people.
Yeah, and we know that it's not just like defenseless people, because they've come in there eventually and like there's a sign of a fight.
It's probably seismic survey charges.
So that we knew that, they were. And let's talk about like the sci-fi portion of it. Okay, so maybe future side, this is how they do their orbital strikes and reconnaissance. That makes sense. You send a small element. But there's also the sign of like, okay, well, if we encounter a larger force that we're not capable of handling, here's all of our plans. And we do this in real life, right?
Yeah. Like you need to have a QRF. You need to have a QRF.
And I think later in the movie, they're like, our QRF's like 40 days out. We're like, what?
What? Like they should be there within like an hour. Yeah. It's all kinds of fucked up. And I mean, it's like, it's even one of those things where it's like, if you're sending in like a small team, like, so say like from the LURS standpoint where I was doing recce, it's like, if you're sending in a recce element, usually the whole point is that recce element does not actually plan on fighting anyone. It's there to gather information. It's there to, provide battlefield commanders with an actual battlefield assessment so that they can make better stuff. Now, if you're going to do like a soft unit and stuff like that, do some sort of like a small strike, you can do that, but you still need to have some sort of a blocking element. That was kind of like our job on the Special Operations Task Force. Was we had the ODA, and then we had the Afghan commandos, and then we had us. And we had a decent sized platoon element of, I'd say, like 35 guys, like 40 guys, maybe at most. But that was enough to get vehicles together and could act as like a blocking element or something. We had like plenty of these commandos that they could do the hit. And like, there's always more. Like, I feel like movies sometimes have this like idea that they just drop like a one-man SEAL team into the into the middle of like this like raging battlefield, and then they just expect them to come out with results. And it's like, no, SEALs use Marines to freaking block on their cordons, and like Delta has like Rangers and stuff like that to do stuff like this. It's like you have to have some sort of a cordon element that secures that area. You don't just send them in and let them get surrounded by some enemy with no backup whatsoever.
Yeah, and I'll go back to what you said earlier about being on a recce team. And I saw this a lot when dealing with like infantry battalions. They would see us, and because I was in an IBCT, they would see trucks with like 50 cals, Mark 19s, tows, and they would think like, oh, okay, these guys are ready for a fight. But those weapon systems exist because your 2-man reconnaissance teams, your dismounts that would go out there and actually do the hard work. Yeah, those weapon systems were there in case those guys got compromised. You were able to lay down enough hate to get them out. They were not going in there to fight the fight. They were going in there to pull their dudes out, break contact, and let somebody that had the actual firepower, be an ABCT or an infantry battalion, come in there and actually smash through if things got really bad. And we kind of do see a little bit of that when they're talking about their weapon systems. I think it's Hudson. I'm the ultimate badass, right?
Check it out. I am the ultimate badass.
He goes, phase cannons. What? That famous scene. So.
Yeah, it was a little different for us because like with so when I was on like a scout element in Korea, it was kind of the same thing. It was like you were mounted, you dismounted, you went out and kind of did your thing, but we were kind of close enough to the mounted element that it's like if you had to break contact and stuff, they could come in and get you. That would have been ideal. But some of the ones that we did, like with the LURS unit, was we were and it happened a few times, was we were supposed to be qualified to drop up to 100 kilometers ahead of the flot. So you were out there completely cut off. And it was like you had like basically like 2 squad automatic weapons, 2 grenade launchers, and like sometimes it's like you're packed, man. That ruck weighed like 100+ pounds and stuff because you were supposed to be out there like self-sustaining for 5 days. Yeah. But even then, it's like if you ran into something and it wasn't probably like at least like a good 2-to-1 ratio you had on them and stuff like that, it's like you better beat feet because a gunfight, and it happened a few times. Like gunfight happens, and next thing you know, it's like shit's going all over the place. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point to bring up to our next scene, which is like the PCI, PCCs. And for those non-military, this is like your pre-combat inspections and your pre-combat checks. This is where you're going to go over all your gear and make sure it's there. And this is a really famous scene from Aliens. But I'm going to talk about like the discipline problems I see in this. They're minor, but I think it's a pretty big tell overall. So let's take a look at that.
Nothing to worry about. We come here and we're going to conquer and we're going to take some. Is that understood? Yes, sir. That's what we're going to do, sweetheart. We are going to go and get some. All right, people, on the ready line. Are you me? Yeah! Are you me? Yeah! Where are you? Where are you? I'm sorry! Get on the ready line, Marine! Get something to do! Get on the ready line! Yo! Move it out, dude! Get hot! 1, 2, 3, get out! Get out! Get out! Move it 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 out! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5. Absolutely badasses! Let's pack them in!
But
Very dramatized, that's for sure.
100%. So what bothers me, and I'll let you tell me what you think about this, but like right at the beginning, you have your automatic weapon systems, which are the smart guns, and your buddy flags her in the middle.
I saw that, dude. It gave me physical pain when I was watching it. I was like, what are you I was like, what, you just muzzled the shit out of her. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Or it's like, and then you got to think too, it's like where she's pointing down range, it looks like he came out of that frame from that direction. So that means he might have been just standing right there in front of her muzzle while she was already doing that, and then jumps in there, flags her, and they're just spinning around doing ballerina moves or something while they practice these like ready ups. Like, what are you two doing? I don't.
Yeah, and for anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, like a flagging or muzzling is that you're pointing your weapon system at somebody, and even if you know it's safe, you're in the armor, you don't do that, and you're told that from like day one in basic. Yeah. You treat that weapon system like it's loaded every single time.
Dude, do you remember like being in like basic or like boot and like axe or like maybe like what was it they for you guys like SOI? It's like if you flagged somebody, especially like later in training where it's like you should already like know that discipline and stuff like that. It was like, man, you just got absolutely raped by like the drills or like your NCOs and stuff like that. I remember I was a stupid private and somebody, God, this one gives me physical pain even thinking about it. We were supposed to be like giving each other checks, make sure we had water and everything was good. And then my NCO goes, "Hey, does he have water?" And I took my M4 and I took the muzzle and poked the back of his camelback on his back to like check his water. And I just got absolutely destroyed.
Oh my God.
I know. I'm just like thinking back on it, I was like, God, I was so retarded as a private. Yeah. I mean, privates are retarded, but still.
They are. That's what they're for. Them and lieutenants, right? Yeah. But you mentioned water, and they didn't check for water. Nobody who has water.
No one has water at all. Where are they getting? It's like they're wearing all this like freaking stuff that looks like it weighs like 500 pounds of like armor. Or I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. I don't know if it's supposed to be metal armor or just purely plastic. Because if it's just plastic, then they're basically wearing a dirt bike suit. Yeah. But it's like they got all this crap on. They're carrying these like big, heavy ass looking weapons, and that none of them have any kind of water source on them whatsoever. Or I didn't even see any magazine like a kit anywhere.
Yeah, and I mean they have to later because they do something with the ammunition. I don't want to jump ahead.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't see it like. And if you're listening to this, you're like, why are they worried about water? It doesn't matter if your op is 2 hours or 12 days. You check your water because you burn through water so quick moving out there, carrying your stuff. It is probably one of the biggest things.
Sweating your balls off, dude.
Yeah, and even in cold weather, you need your water on you. And that's one of the biggest things you check. Like if you have a camelback, you go up there and you check your buddy, you squeeze his camelback, make sure it's full. If you have canteens, you make sure you don't hear any sloshing when you jiggle your canteens, especially if it's a recon mission. They don't have any of that, and they didn't do any checks either. So like,
good. My remembering of PCC's PCIs was that it was like, so the PCCs were where it's like you got all your gear out and you laid it out in front of your NCOs. And your NCOs came by and they like checked to make sure that you had all the stuff that your job ensued. You know, if you were a grenadier, you had all of your grenades and all your stuff that you needed. You had all your equipment. You had everything that you needed right there set up. And then when you did like the PCI, it was like you were dressed out, lined up, and like your NCOs were going like ahead of the line and stuff like that, like making sure all your equipment, like especially like in parachute or helicopter operations, you need to have your monkey tail, you need to have like your stuff taped up and everything to make sure it didn't get caught if you were doing a jump. It's a really like boring and rigorous like check to make sure that it's like that there's no like fail in the system. And they're just like the way that they're doing this, they know this mission's coming. They just got a brief. It's not like but they're acting like it's like some sort of like a rapid fire like QRF thing where it's like they have to like have their stuff sitting there and then all of a sudden they're going at the last minute. It's like, no, you guys know this is coming. You guys should already have your shit on. You should already have your stuff loaded up. You should already be like standing there I mean, you remember those things where it was like when it was movement and like transport was coming to pick you up. Shit, man, you're sitting there sometimes for hours waiting for that shit to get ready before it's like you're taking off. Like you're on the helipad or something like that, like the flight line waiting for the helicopters. You're just sitting there just waiting and waiting and waiting. But these dudes are like loading up like, oh, go. It's like, dude. Calm the fuck down, dude. You're just getting on the freaking plane. Like, it's like, you don't need to be like that. Like, you should already be lined up, disciplined, everybody shutting their mouth and be ready to get on the plane and just go.
Yeah. The only movie that I recall where they do a good job showing some of the preparation before is, oddly enough, Battle for Los Angeles, because they actually go through and he's like, hey, you need extra batteries and things like that.
Yes.
It's been a long time since I've seen it. That sounds so stupid, but man, like you burn through batteries all day, every day.
I mean,
little things.
And it's funny because it's like, with tech now, especially like with the stuff that I use in like law enforcement and military, it is so far ahead of the way it was even when I was in like Afghanistan and stuff. I mean, like you said, it's like you burn through batteries like nobody's business, like just constant. Like you basically almost had like an entire sack like on your freaking kit, like just for freaking AA and the CR123s and like all the other stupid batteries that you had to have because nothing seemed to run on just one kind of battery.
Yeah, I had an admin pouch I mounted right on my chest, and I just popped it down. And I had all my batteries there, and I had it so that when I had my night vision, if I needed to change my night vision batteries, the AA's were on the right side, and then I categorized them that way. So if I didn't know, like I couldn't see, I knew where the batteries were.
Everything had to be, it's like, and that's always something that gets overlooked is like everything on your kit was set up because you had trained that way so that you could manipulate your kit in the dark under nods and not have to be checking and sitting there fiddling with it. Because if you're in the middle of a gunfight and you need to, God forbid, replace a battery or something dumb happens, then you're not sitting there fucking around with your kit, looking around with it and stuff while there's bullets flying everywhere.
So that leads us to the next scene. Let's take a look at this one.
Come on, settle down, people. Lock them in, Hudson.
Ready to get it on? You know it.
Okay, Bishop, let's go.
Roger.
I'm ready, man. Ready to get it on. Go!
Stand by, cross-launch now. Pre-launch autocycle engaged.
Primary couplers released. At the internals.
Confirm crosslock and drop station secured.
Affirmative. All drop stations secured.
Stand by 10 seconds. Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark.
5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
So, not a ton there to talk about. I mean, I'm not a pilot, so I can't talk about that.
All I can say, man, is I forget sometimes how annoying Hudson is, and it's like you've known those guys and stuff like that, where it's just like they're so like desperate to look like they're some sort of bad motherfucker and stuff like that it's like they just will not shut up for 2 seconds, like. Like like with Hicks, right? So I really like Hicks in this movie. He's probably like my favorite character.
Same.
And Hicks is not a good Marine corporal, because if he was, he'd be absolutely raping Hudson every 2 seconds for being an idiot. But he kind of has a lot more like that. He kind of feels like that special operator type of guy, where it's like, like if he were on a team of other guys that had sort of the same attitude as him, it's like it would probably be a pretty good team. But I mean, like Ripley shows more like discipline than like half of these Marines are half the time. Like they're all like button heads, like acting all ridiculous, and you're just kind of like, okay, cool, yeah, like.
Yeah. I mean, I think they, from a writing perspective, they make the characters great. I love every single character. They all have their unique personality. I think that from that perspective, they do great. But I mean, there's a part in that scene, and probably got cut off a little bit, where they're still having comms problems because Drake has an issue with his little camera system, and instead of fixing it, he just bangs it against it, and he's like, okay, that fixed it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, why are you having comm issues and you're literally on the route? Like, go back to that PCI thing. You do radio check, you do all that. That should have all been fixed before you stepped off.
Yeah, that should have been fixed like hours before the mission even happened.
Yeah.
So it's just, like dumb shit like that. I mean, and I don't mind some of Hudson's like smack talk, like, oh, express elevator to hell and stuff like that. It's like that's cool with me and stuff. But I guess it's like, you always kind of knew, especially like when you're an NCO, there's a little bit of that line where it's like letting your guys talk some shit and being all pumped and getting ready to go, and then being like annoying as hell. It's like, okay, shut up.
Fuck with me. Check it out. Hey Ripley, don't worry. Me and my squad of ultimate badasses will protect you.
Like, okay, shut up.
I don't mind that side of it so much as why was that all screwed up from, like, you shouldn't be checking that. You're already en route. That's like being in the Black Hawk and be like, hey man, my radio doesn't work, or I don't feel in my radio.
It's like this whole operation is just so ate up from the ground up from like a military perspective. Like you said, like you should not be having comms issues unless they're actually organic comms issues. Maybe the signal is bad, you're in a bad area, something, stuff like that happens.
Things outside of your realm of control. But
it's like you should not be having something dumb like that, like, or it's like, oh, my camera doesn't work. Like, now you're just like letting us know that your camera doesn't work. Like, what the hell, man? Like,
and another part of this scene that I think they try to emphasize how new their lieutenant is. Yeah. And people point out, like, well, you shouldn't have put a brand new lieutenant on that mission. I'll say from a storyline, Gorman was chosen because he was new, the company. So that's a part that the Marines don't have any say in, right? Because there's a little bit of corporate espionage going on. They purposely chose a new lieutenant. But being new doesn't excuse certain things. And, it's fine being brand new. Okay, it's like his first or second real mission. That's fine. That's not an excuse. But there should be a relationship between him and his platoon sergeant, and there is none of that. And as cool as Apone is as a character, as an NCO, we'll see.
Terrible.
Later, he becomes like, he's so much of a pushover because there's things that Gorman says that it's your job, especially as an E7, to tell your officer it's a bad idea.
I remember the really good one when it was like I was doing some stuff with my PL when I was at E5, and my platoon sergeant came walking in, and we were on rear D because part of the company was up doing some other stuff, so I was helping him out with some stuff, and our platoon sergeant comes in, and he's like, hey, and the LT is like, hey, how about we turn the guys loose to go home for the day, turn them loose a little early. He goes, no. And he was like, well, what are you talking about? And he was like, there's nothing going on. He's like, at the end of the day, like, all stuff always comes down. No, we're not going to turn them loose early and stuff and then have to call them back. He goes, well, I'm the one who's in charge here. He goes, you're not in charge, sir. You're just here to fill out paperwork when I need it. All right. And like, it started like going, he was like, oh, well, thank God you're going to let me sign the paperwork. And he's like, you're lucky I'm letting you even sign the paperwork. And he just walked out. And this guy sitting next to me goes, Daddy just slapped mommy. It's just like, but this like that's what your platoon sergeant's supposed to be like. It's like if you got some cocky ass jerk who's like a LT or like just completely like absent from anything going on, it's your P's job to keep him grounded in what's happening.
And I think Hollywood does a poor job of like portraying what officers are supposed to do. Like officers are not glorious positions. I mean, ultimately, your fighting tool is a radio. It's not your rifle or anything else. Which we saw in this scene a little bit of like his command and control. And I saw this a lot, especially in an IBCT, and I was guilty of it to some degree when I was a brand new lieutenant. Is you get so reliant on the tools and technology that you feel afraid to step away from those tools. And we see that early on. Like, granted, maybe that's their SOP in the future. The officer hangs out in the C2 element. But that takes away your tactical decisions when you do that. And Gorman very much falls in that. But on the other side, he has his second command, right, which is APON. And APON's not passing anything relevant up. He's kind of just pushing the guys forward.
Yeah. So, and that's one of the things that should be happening is it's like, so like, with a small team like this, it's kind of a weird command and control because like when I was on a team this size, it was like you had a staff sergeant who was the team leader, an E5 that was the second, like the ATL, and then the rest was all your peons, your E4 and below that were there to listen. It was like, and those two NCOs passed up everything. I don't know how many guys it looks like they have. It looks like they maybe have I would say maybe like they're kind of heavy for a squad, like maybe like 10 guys or something. But it's like it almost seems like it's like APON is the only one that's really designated, even though he's terrible at it. He's the only one designated as an NCO. He should have other NCOs that are under him that are passing it down. Like, okay, like LT gives APON the order, like this is where we're going. The APON should be like, hey, getting his NCOs and be like, hey guys, it's like get your teams out that way. It's like, and those teams execute. It's like so, but APON's just sort of like just doing these things like, come on, ladies, we got a job to do. It's like, oh, thank you. That was such a great direction. That really really helps things out on the mission.
Yeah, and I actually had that in my notes. So. Before we get into the actual tactical element, which is the next scene, I'll just break down like the roles. So we have Sergeant First Class APON. He's supposed to be the senior NCO. He's the acting platoon sergeant, which that means leadership, management, operational readiness, and discipline. Which so far he's not checked off any of those boxes.
Nope.
You have Lieutenant Gorman, who is a young, inexperienced lieutenant, hand selected by Wayland for his inexperience. We have Corporal Hicks. He looks to be some type of de facto rifleman and third in command. Then you have Private Hudson, just rifleman. You have Private Vasquez, a heavy machine gunner. Drake, heavy machine gunner. You have Farrell, which is a pilot. They don't know, corporal, okay. Private Spookmeyer, who looks to be like the crew chief and the co-pilot. Yeah. You have Corporal Dietrich. So we have another corporal here, by the way.
Another corporal.
Yeah, not doing anything.
No, those corporals should be running that shit.
Yeah, absolutely, especially in a small unit like this. But it looks like Dietrich is like kind of like a corpsman / medic. We have Private, I'm going to butcher this name, Wabowski, just another rifleman. We have Private Crow, rifleman. We have Private Frost, who I'm going to say rifleman, but is carrying a flame unit. And then we have Bishop, who's not military. Yeah. But when I looked it up, Bishop is considered the executive officer. So it's weird that this is basically like a large squad, but they're deploying as a platoon, but we have some company leadership, which would be your executive officer.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah. So, and he works as the executive officer. He doesn't seem to have any authority in decisions, but he's also their science officer, and he's considered a backup pilot. So. Yeah.
That was one of the things is like, I guess I never really saw Bishop as anything. I always saw him as like a civilian, especially like as the android unit that he is and stuff like that. But that was another thing that I guess I kind of glossed over too, was during the prep it was like the disrespect that they showed Ripley. One of the things that we never did as small, as in anything, was that if there was a civilian there that was there to give us information or a brief, that you do not disrespect the civilians. Like, yeah, like that was a big thing. But yeah, it's like, Ripley always got her head on and stuff like that in this, but it's just the whole unit seems like they're just so like private heavy. And it was like you're saying there's two corporals, and then it immediately in the NCO chain jumps straight to an E7, like a gunnery sergeant. And it's like, where's the sergeant? Where's the staff sergeant? Like usually like a team this size wouldn't even have a gunny at that, because the gun in the Marine Corps, at least, it's like the gunny runs the entire company. And then the staff sergeants are kind of like the platoon sergeant. So you probably have like a staff sergeant running the platoon, but then you'd also have like an E5 sergeant, like a buck sergeant, that would be probably like the main driver, like the squad leader, that would be pushing those corporals out to get their guys going.
Yeah.
So maybe that's where that break in all the disciplines coming in, is because you just got this E7 and like these two corporals that don't have a word to say.
Yeah, it's a very unusual unit cohesion that we see.
Yeah.
Again, I love the jokes and the comfort that they seem to have with each other. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they kind of portray the Gorman being a new officer. He doesn't have any integration, doesn't have any training with the unit. Yeah. But there's like so many discipline issues. Like they're not paying attention during their briefs. Same thing that you can kind of say that was their commentary to like Americans going in thinking that the Vietnamese were going to be a pushover because they weren't a technological army.
These the discipline issues, I think, are like, and that's the thing, is like I like the jokes. I mean, like, dude, in the infantry, we tell some of the most fucked up jokes and banter and stuff like that. But there's also a time to screw your head on straight and be focused. And those are your times where it's like your briefs, your pre-combat inspections, your pre-combat checks. Like, you can talk a little bit of shit when you're in the back of the Bradley or a truck or like the helo, if you can hear anything. But like once you're down, it's like you got to start getting ready. It's like, especially when the bird's about to touch down too, it's like, this is not a time to be fucking around and doing jokes or banging your camera to make sure it works or something like that. It's like, this is when it's like, okay, it's like, lock in, do what you got.
So that brings us to the moment of entry, which is probably going to be painful for you to watch now that you're thinking about it from a military standpoint. So let's jump into this nightmare.
Loud and clear.
10 seconds, people. Look sharp. All right, I want a nice, clean dispersal this time. Let's go! Move it out! Head 'em up!
First squad up, online. Hicks, get yours in accord and watch the rear.
Last guys take point. Let's move! Move up! Hudson, run a bypass.
Second squad, move up. Flanking positions.
Second squad online.
Second team, move inside. Hicks, take the upper level.
So you copying this? Looks like it's from small arms fire. With some explosives damages, probably seismic survey charges. Are you reading this? Keep it tight, people.
Love it, the tension and stuff like that. I'm gonna say it's not exactly the abortion that it could have possibly been, but there's also a lot to unpack there. So,
I'll let you start.
oh well, let's start with muzzle discipline. I don't know. So it's like the landing. Okay, they bring out their APC, which is the most like ridiculously like I don't know, not realistic APC you could possibly want to have in any kind of situation. It looks like a freaking DeLorean or something. Once they get out, I think they do some stuff kind of right. It's just it looks like a thing where it's like it's actors that are trying to look military and stuff like that. But it's like it's not the worst thing. For a moment there, they're staying online. They're kind of staying out of each other's fields of fire and stuff like that. They're staying in their lanes. But once they have to like get into any kind of like a bottleneck scenario, first off, you should be trying to avoid those. But they're not communicating at all. Like they're not saying anything. Even if you're whispering and you're trying to be quiet, you can be like, like tap someone, hey, move, or something like that. So it's like they know it's like you can move, and like it's like you're not going to flag them or something like that. And they're just kind of funneling into there, and they're just like flagging the shit out of each other like as they go. I guess I'm kind of like putting that smart gun as your point. I have some issues tactically with that. I'm kind of like, this thing's like a base of fire type of weapon. It was kind of like when we did CQB and stuff like that. It's like usually you wouldn't want to even have like a squad automatic weapon or like a 240 coming in doing CQB. You're usually wanting to just have it just be rifles. Because it's like doing CQB with a saw like sucks. But yeah, it's like it's kind of a base of fire weapon, and they're not even aiming this thing. It's just purely like firing from the hip.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like and then like they open the door and she's just standing there like center mass, like right in front of the door. It's like, what happened to somebody like you just right in front of the funnel. Like what happened if the door opened? Somebody just like shot a rocket like right into your face. Like you're dead in 2 seconds. So that bothered me a bit. Their movement down the hall, again, like when they hit those kind of bottleneck things, like where she has to like go around that thing that's hanging down, you need to communicate that with your buddy that it's like, hey, like I'm moving right in your lane. So that way it's like he doesn't have his muzzle up, and then suddenly it's like you just move in front of his muzzle or something. I mean, you should always have tactical awareness, like 360, 720, but at the same time, especially when you're moving down a hallway, it's like that's why you have lanes, is you're not supposed to be moving into each other's lanes, because if anything pops off and people start shooting or something, then if you move into someone's lane, you're getting shot by your own dude.
Yeah.
So.
I think going back to what we talked about earlier, like their unit's just too small for this. So like you're not taking a building in real life with just a squad, and they're taking the whole town.
Yeah.
So,
there's just no way to cover all of this ground. I mean, like I remember it's like, even just taking like an entire house, sometimes you need like half a platoon just to take like some like Afghan stupid like little compound because there's so many rooms. And they never show this in movies, but it's like every time you take a room, you either need to leave somebody there to secure that room, or if you take those people with you, then you have to clear it on the way back too.
Yeah.
So, and they kind of don't. I mean, that we hadn't really showed them like taking any kind of rooms, but yeah, there's just this is not something where you send just one squad of like 2 kind of heavy teams. Like that's just not practical.
And like, so we know they have issues because like Apone makes that comment right at the beginning. It's like, I want a clean dispersal. Like, okay, so that you have jacked up problems in the past. So we got that under our belt. So I'm not going to touch on the fact they get out and like there's nobody watching their 6 because you can say it's the APC, but they're too small. We don't have
and the gun on top. It's like it's just that thing's so blind. Like there's like no seeing out of it. There's no it's very impractical.
You touched on the entry portion of it. What drives me nuts is like they're all clustered up, right? It's everybody has tunnel vision and they're all looking right there.
Yeah.
And then when they get in there, like they're all clustered up there, and you pointed it out, they put their heavy weapon up front, which is a decision, I guess. And I'll point this out. Apone made that decision, not Gorman. So like that's jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
But what drove me nuts is like, okay, if Apone's making that decision, we've already decided who's making the on the ground calls. But then Gorman tells the second team to move in. We're like, hold on. Who's making these moves now? It shouldn't be the guy that's in the truck. It should be the person there. And look, on an IBCT, sometimes your officer's in the truck because he's talking back and forth to hire, right?
Yeah.
I'm not telling my dismounts individual movements. I'm letting the guys on the ground make that decision. And then when they came in, I think it was Hudson. It might have been somebody else. It's kind of hard to see in the scene. But he looks down, and you realize that there's a stairway right when they walk in.
And he didn't even clear it.
Yeah, he just sticks his
call it out. Just nothing. It's just
doesn't say anything.
Just bypasses it completely.
And you don't leave something like that. And I mean, there's so many. Like the second they get in there, there's so many problems that it's like the guys are scattered up. You have your biggest weapon system dead center. And you have guys on the left and right. Nobody's calling anything out. And we're seeing things, but it's not a good situation to be in.
No, it's like, and the whole thing that we usually did, like in the infantry with heavy weapons, was like I said, it's a base of fire weapon. It's supposed to mainly, for the most part, you do have your squad automatic weapons, which they're base of fire, but it's like it allows the teams to move. But these like smart guns are like, the suckers are big, but they're also kind of like impractical too. They're like hip fired like M60s or something like that. Like, and so to put them up front is pretty ridiculous. Like I was always like, the whole thing I was thinking when they were trying to open the door was, it was like, get your rifles and have like one team on one side, one team on the other side. Start like, opening the door if they're going to do electronic bypass. But those smart guns should be like back behind the cover, pointed into the door. And like, back for like a base of fire. So just in case they open that door and like some shit comes spilling out that's like insane, then those base of fire weapons can be firing from that cover and stuff, and give the teams like time either to move back or to like, engage or something along those lines. But it's still like they should be covering something different instead of being the lead element.
And do you notice like when they got out of the vehicle, like, and everybody's taking cover behind something, but the smart gunners are standing away from cover? I get it. Their weapon, like, it was a poor design. They look cool, but from a
practicality wise,
you don't have a way to like hide your body from being shot.
Yeah.
So
I think that was what was bothering me the most. Was it was like, like you said, everybody else was getting behind cover. It didn't look bad, but the smart guns are just like, they're just out there like. And the least accurate weapon that you got right now, too. It's like, I'm out of cover and I'm firing from the hip with something that's just got insane recoil on it and stuff. And it's like,
I guess you can say that like the smart guns are supposed to be like, they're supposed to feed through that system and like track, but they never say that in the movie. I'm just going off like the expanded lore. So really, we don't know if you're using just the movie as the basis, we don't know what the capability of that system is.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to say on that scene before we jump into the next one?
Let's jump into the next one and see how fucked up it.
This one, this is the epitome of like, okay, we have a serious discipline problem to me, and we need to stop because we need to fix this before we do anything else. We'll probably pull back at this moment. So I'll see what you think about it.
Behind us.
One of us?
Hey, Pone, where are your people? Anybody in D block?
That's a negative. We're rolling operations.
Talk to me, Frosty.
Let's keep moving, baby.
It's moving.
Which way? It's coming straight forward. Straight up.
Oh boy.
You can go and start it.
Yeah. So first off, that whole thing of everybody being on edge, where it's like somebody just knocks something over and that makes everyone shit their pants. That's probably not a good thing. But okay, so you have a motion sensor that tells you that something's coming towards you. Why would you move out into the hall and give up your tactical advantage? And like, you could have just posted up in the door if it's coming toward you and waited for it to come toward you. Like, why would you go out in the hall, which is the most dangerous place that you can go to seek out what it is? But I mean, it is a clear, so I'm going to try to give them a little leeway. But then they're all moving. They're all like shoulder to shoulder, clustered up. And then the other thing too is that it's like, you are there to try to save civilians. It's like, this is a civilian fucking compound. It's like, you don't even know what kind of enemy that you have, and you see something come out, and you've just got the absolute worst trigger discipline to just suddenly start just like ripping off rounds all over, and you don't even know what it was that went in front of you.
Yeah,
that's
100% a negligent discharge.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then he acts like it was like the corporal's fault for like throwing his like body in. I mean, and Hicks did the right thing. Like, when he started firing and he saw that it was a civilian, I mean, he jumped over there and he hit his muzzle up into the wall and stopped the fire. Like, I mean, but you shouldn't have to be doing that at all.
Yeah. I mean, that was the moment that I was like, we have a serious problem here, a serious discipline problem. That the first thing you do is you fire at movement. I mean, even if it was a fully hostile element that you knew you were going against, you still have target identify. Yeah, you identify your targets. You don't just fire into the dark at noises.
Yeah,
terrible. I feel like at that moment, that's, as an NCO, like APON should have been like, we need some serious reevaluation here. We're not ready for this.
Yeah,
we've screwed the pooch already.
Yeah,
but I think
there was no reason for him to fire. That was just. It's like you said, it's like, you don't just fire because something moves. It's like, that's the antithesis of what, and maybe they are basing this shit off of Vietnam and stuff like that, where it's like, just freaking fire at anything that was in the jungle or moved. But it's like, even reality in Vietnam, you didn't just shoot anything that moved. It was like, you had still rules of engagement, you have positive identification. You've only, especially in a situation like this, you've only got so much ammo. You don't just like rip off rounds full auto and freaking anything that you see.
Yeah, and we have to point out, you've never seen the movie before. They haven't taken contact yet. Like, there's been no hostility yet. They don't know what it is. I mean, there's even a scene prior to this where they detect movement, and it's a bunch of like gerbils or hamsters in a lab. So why would the first thing you do, knowing that there's movement, is squeeze rounds off?
Yeah.
And I mean, again, we saw more terrible movement. I mean, they're all clustered up in the hallway. If it was somebody could just stuck a rifle around the corner, sprayed around.
You can have all three of them.
Yeah. And then, granted, I get it. They do it for the movie perspective, but I wouldn't take my civilian with me.
No. They should be in the back. And that's one of the things too, right? Is it's like, so Ripley's out of the APC. She's in there. She shouldn't be in there until the entire area is secured. And they have some sort of like a talk that they can set up, or just like a makeshift like communications and but that should be in the APC. They already have that. Yeah. There's no reason for her to go anywhere. It's like, she shouldn't be in there. And even Gorman, it's like, if Gorman's just going to be a fucking house mouse and sit in the damn vehicle like telling everybody what to do the whole time, then why is he out on the ground either? Like, who's in the APC right now? Is just left completely unattended?
Yeah, and that's funny you mentioned that because it's the same thing with their the Cheyenne dropship. It's
Yeah.
landed, like it's touched down, and it comes up later in the movie where if you're going to have a bird on the ground, there's going to be so much security around. Even like
Yes.
a single helicopter, you're going to make sure nothing comes near that bird. But they
Yes.
just leave the 2 pilots, and
Yeah, that's it. That's just they can fend for themselves. It's okay.
yeah. Again, this is too small of a unit to be doing this
Yeah.
level of operation.
Like, I mean, that size of target, that many rooms, that, like you said, like a whole town. This should be like a whole like Mardiv. Like this should be like a whole division of Marines, like coming here to freaking get these people, or at least like a freaking full battalion. Like you should not like be having like one squad of fucked up guys that like can't even hold their shit together, like coming in to save people.
Because I know somebody's going to point this out because I have a bunch of big fans of Alien. They're going to say, well, like, yeah, they didn't know that it could have just been a broken communication array. Okay, granted, but there's nobody behind them. Like,
yeah,
they say later, it's like 40 days before somebody else is going to get to them. Like, no, you deploy with more assets, and if you think it's just a communication array, send a squad down. The second they're like, hey, yo, no, this place is shot up, you can call in more people and you secure the entire zone.
Yeah, and even like special operations teams that like go like say like an ODA from the Army or like SEAL team or something like that. Like when they go into areas, it's like they don't just go in there by themselves. They have some kind of support with them, or at least nearby. Even if it's just going to be like a small team, like hostage rescue, or if you're like an ODA that's actually going to be like operating on the ground for a long time. It's like you have like local assets, you have like like friendlies, you have all this stuff. It's like they have no idea what the situation is. They know that it could be potentially hostile, but it could not be. But either way, they're just like, okay, yeah, like I'm just gonna send in one squad. Like I think honestly, it was like the moment that they opened the doors and found the entire like scene kind of derelict and stuff like that. That already should have been their cue to just pull back, get on the birds, and go report back that it's like, hey, like this looks like it's potentially like deadly, or that we're gonna need way more assets than we already have. But yeah, then like you said, it's like, oh yeah, they're 40 days out. Like, oh well, thanks for that.
Pointless. And just because again somebody's going to be like, yeah, but what about Operation Red Wings? They had other assets. They just got killed on their way to get them.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean, Operation Red Wings was that was fucked up from the floor up too. And
yeah,
there were a lot of bureaucratic things that happened with that. But the funny part is like when you read not just Marcus Luttrell's version and stuff like that, because that was just his take, but like some of the ones written by like SEAL team commanders and things like that after the entire thing went down, you saw that that area they were operating in was known to have comms issues. So you already had that. But also it was like the SEALs were trying to take over the Marine Corps' missions that they were doing in that area. And Marine Corps snipers and a recon element had all had contact in that exact area. And they had good comms and were able to call for fire, and were able to pull out with absolutely no casualties. So the SEALs go in there, their comms are all fucked up. They can't get anything. They got 4 guys. They have no automatic weapons. They have 2 sniper rifles and 2 regular rifles. And then it's like people always like, oh, like SEALs are such badasses, blah, 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 and all of that stuff. But it's like, dude, if you're 4 dudes with just simple, like handheld weapons, and you get balled up by an element that's 3 times your size and has heavy PKMs and rockets, you're gonna fucking die. like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't remember who it was. It might have been one of the gun influencers I follow, but they made a great point about just special operators in general. They say special operators are trained people, but they're people at the end of the day. Because there's Delta Force dudes that still got clapped by Somalis with rusted out AKs. So in the end of the day, you're still a person, and you want to go in with these preparations and this training for a purpose. And these guys don't have any of it.
Well, one of the things that we had when I first got to Afghanistan, we were with the ODA, was we were left seat, right seat, and then it was a SEAL team that was leaving, and the ODA was left seat, right seat, and so they could do a correct handover. And I guess they said later on, I think it was probably like 2012, maybe 2013 or something when they started doing this. But when we were left seat, right seat, and we had a contact and stuff, I hate saying it, but it was like the SEALs looked like they had no fucking idea how to react to contact and do regular infantry tactics. Like they when they were clearing buildings or doing like their other stuff, man, they were shit hot. Like it looked so cool. Like I was like, that was fucking awesome or something like that. But it was like, when it was like suddenly like you're in contact and you're having to like dismount and do like infantry tactics, it was like zero clue. And then what I heard was they started actually pairing SEALs with 75th guys from Ranger Regiment so that they could get like a good kind of, head on their shoulders about like infantry tactics. Because I think one of the benefits the Marines and the Army have is that for the most part, when you got your special operators, all those guys have been through infantry training. Again, it doesn't matter how special you are, it doesn't matter where it is. It's like once contact hits, it goes back to the basics, man. It's squad attack, it's break contact, it's all of that stuff. And training on that stuff is the bread and butter of the whole thing. And if you don't know those tactics really well, and you're just kind of doing like little peels, and you're getting attacked, you're gonna be messed up. But yeah, I mean, Red Wings is not usually the best example to to go for if you're trying to be like, oh well, it's kind of realistic, right? And it's like, how many fuck ups occurred to get to that?
Like, and my only point when I brought that up was that they did have a QRF in place. They just happened to get going to get them. But
they stole their birds too, because like they're freaking like they're Apaches and stuff.
Nightmare, man. All right, let's get into the most famous scene from the movie Aliens ever.
Ooh.
That's going to be the ambush scene.
What?
Don't get over here with that live one!
You're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right.
Please. Help me. Just stay calm. We're gonna get you off. It's gonna be all right. Give me a hand. We gotta get her out of here. Convulsion!
Get back! Move! Movement!
What's the position?
Can't lock you in.
Talk to me, Hudson.
Multiple signals. They're closing.
Go to infrared, people. Look sharp.
What's happening, Napalm? Can't see anything in here.
Pull your team out, Gorman.
I got signals. I got readings in front and behind.
Where, man? I don't see shit.
He's right. There's nothing back here.
Look, I'm telling you, there's something moving and it ain't us.
Tracker's off scale, man. They're all around us, man. Jesus.
Maybe they don't show up on infrared at all.
Jesus Christ, Napalm, what is going on?
Spassky and Crow are down. Dietrich, Crow. Dietrich, Frost, off the board. Sound off. Frost. Frost. Where's Spassky?
firing, god damn it! I ordered to hold fire. Coming out the goddamn wall! Look! I want you to lay down a suppressing fire with the...
Hold your fire, goddammit!
The incinerators and fall back by squads.
Say again? All after incinerators.
I said I want you to lay down a suppressing fire with the incinerators and fall back by squads. Talk to me.
Copy.
Paul, talk to me.
Come on! Get them out of there! Do it now!
Shut up!
Hicks, whoever's left, get the
Just
hell out
shut
of
up!
here! Damn it!
Where's the phone? Where's the phone? Sergeant's gone! Get the fuck out of here! Let's go, Marine!
You look thrilled.
Oh,
Do you want to start this one or you want me to start this one?
you can go ahead. I got a lot to think about here.
Okay. So probably wouldn't use a flame unit first thing, but that's a choice. So what we need to know.
Yeah. We need to talk about what happened just prior to this.
Yeah. So just prior to this, they're moving in, and our corporal Leesball tells them, "Hey, you're gonna put a round through that reactor, and it might cause a kaboolie." Which I'm not going to get into the science of like how reactors today wouldn't be that fragile. So I'm not going to talk about that. In world, that's what the justification is. If you're being told to take out your ammunition, then you're not going in, like, period.
No, that was what I was thinking, like, too, it was like, if you're being told that you're in a situation where you don't have rounds to protect yourself, okay, cool, kiss my ass, and the whole squad's pulling out.
It's like,
no way.
Evaluate this.
Yeah.
Do something different. So, a couple guys, they have like magazines on them. That's why they're able to fire there at the end. And they put all the ammunition in one person's back. It doesn't make sense. No. Even if you make the worst decision, why are you giving everybody the ammunition? You should be able to just put it on your kit.
Put it back on your kit.
Yeah. Instead, they put it in one dude, and then they use the flamer, and we get see our lovely trigger discipline again, and she gets nabbed by an alien and then lights her own dude up while she's being killed.
Which is funny because it's like, okay, it looks like it's picking her up, and I get it. It's like you're under attack and you're being lifted up off the ground from behind by something that's basically just sunk its claws into you and is dragging you off the ground. At the same time, shouldn't you, if you're still alive at that point, be thinking about the ways to maybe try to get out of that situation and or kill whatever it is grabbing you and picking you up, instead of just doing a panic and just fucking pulling the trigger and lighting your own guy on fire? Yeah. Like, what did you accomplish there? You didn't save yourself, and you just killed your boy.
Yeah, and so I'm going to talk about it from the officer perspective. Look, the second, if you're in his situation, which, I'm going to relate it to the IBCTE experience. If I hear my dismounts are in contact or a forward element is in contact and I need to give a command, it's going to be break contact, and I'm going to get off the net because they're going to fight the fight now.
Yep.
I'm not in that part. I then turn my radio to the second channel, and I'm talking to the next guy bigger than me and saying, hey, I'm in contact. I have this going on. I need this. I need help on this area. That's my job. That's how I fight the fight at that point as an officer. Instead, Gorman's like giving really specific instructions in the middle of a firefight.
And that was bothering the hell out of me. Like, I was like, why is this guy telling his platoon sergeant, who's in the middle of a gunfight right now, how he should be pulling his guys back? Like, first off, if you even have like a moniker of training when you're going into a real world mission, I mean, you and I know it's like, if you're selected to go into a real world mission, that means that you're on a rotational schedule. That means that you've trained and have been training so that just in case it's like something pops off, that means you're going, but you're already trained up for it. You're on that rotational cycle. So that means you've trained up for it and you're ready to go. These dudes are acting like they just rolled out of bed after like freaking like 6 months of leave or something like that. And they haven't trained like a day in their lives. and they're like it's almost like a bad training scenario or something like that you throw people into after like they've all been on downtime or something. They're all like just doing all this fucked up stuff, and like you're like, what do you? But yeah, it's like it's like people know how to break contact. Once break contact happens, like from the leadership perspective, like you said, it's like it's like they're in the gunfight, and it's like you as the officer even. First off, I think Apone should be the one to make that call. Break contact. That's his job. It's like
asking him,
Yeah, it's like he should be saying he should be telling his guys, hey, break contact. And then as you as the officer, it's like if I'm the NCO and stuff, I'm gonna say break contact. I'm gonna relay it back to you, breaking contact. And then like you said, that at that point it's like you cut the net so that it's like I can talk to my NCOs and stuff if we got comms and we can do like a proper break contact. But instead, like Gorman's on there, like you need to lay down for pressure fire with the incinerators, and then you need to fall back to a pressure. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up and get off the radio.
Yeah.
And then the whole time it's like you see like Apone, he's sitting there like in the middle of an active gunfight, like hold on, everybody be quiet so I can like listen and hear what the radio. It's like, dude, you're under attack, dude. Like fuck the radio at that point. Like you need to fire back.
Yeah, and that's why I go back like saying. Gorman has his problems, but Apone has a lot of it on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Because a senior NCO at that point, even if you had a jacked up officer that was doing that like Gorman, he doesn't need to listen to it. He can just start fighting.
Turn that radio fuck off.
Yeah.
Turn it into another channel.
Get your guides out, and reevaluate the situation. And the other thing that really drives me nuts is why did they give Ripley the ability to talk on the radio? I get it from a movie perspective. I get it. She's the lead, but I've never given a civilian radio access on my net ever.
No, or even like to see what's going on, unless they were like some sort of like top level like evaluator or something like that. But it's like, and I think that the sad part is it's like she's the only one who's seeing the writing on the wall and seems to actually like no, like she's like pull your guys out. And you'd think as an officer, if you have, let's just call Ripley a subject matter expert. Okay, it's like she's there because she's supposed to have like in-depth, intimate knowledge of what's going on. And maybe they're questioning her, whatever not. It's like why she's there. Okay. But now you've just run into exactly what it is that she's been warning you about the entire time. So if she's saying you need to get those guys the fuck out of there or they're all going to die, you might want to pull your head out of your ass and tell them to move.
Yeah.
But I mean, like she even tells them to like get out of there. I think before the chest burster even comes out, like in the scene prior to that. I mean, you would think it's like that would be the time to pull out too. It's like if you go into the area where you've just discovered that pretty much everybody on the thing is dead or been wrapped up. It's like, yeah, you might want to go and get a lot more like assets and firepower to go into there.
100%. Yeah. I mean, the second they found the chest burster, that should have been their confirmation. Like their hair, the thing that she said is hair. You're already undermanned from all the conversation we've had. That is 100%. And then like once the fight starts, I get it. People like to point Gorman, but I say as an NCO in the middle of a firefight, that's on Apone. It's on Hicks. Like,
it was definitely on Apone, and then Hicks. Like at that one point when they're like, "Oh, it's like we're getting movement," and he's like, "There's nothing back here." It's like, you're a corporal, dude. What the fuck are you doing? Like pulling the 6 security when you're supposed to be making sure that your guys are in proper formation and that they're freaking, like they got their sectors good and that everything's going. It's like your job as a corporal, as a team leader, is that you are command and control of your small little element and getting them good. You're not back there like just letting them do their thing with your freaking like pulling the 6. Like, well, I hope they're okay back there. Like, what are you doing?
It was a cluster, and there's no coordination on what to do because like then you have your heavy weapons and they just open fire and they don't have any. They don't know where anybody is, right?
Yeah, there's no. It's like you get that there's like people that are they're under attack. Somebody's got to say like something like contact. It's like what? It's like it's 3 Ds: distance, direction, description. It's like give out the targets. So there's, but yeah, then these dudes with their heavy weapons just like let's rock and roll, and they basically just start like spinning a 360, fucking firing in every direction. It's like,
it makes no sense. And
Well, and that whole thing about the whole reactor, I guess, ended up being bullshit. Because I'm pretty sure that they shot everything in sight and the reactor didn't go up.
So I don't know, which one.
I always wonder if it was what's his name, Burke, like just did it to
try and get the vials.
Try and like get him out.
But I don't. And somebody who is more of a nerd in the movie, which is going to be hard to beat me on this one. I don't know what caused the eventual crack in the reactor. If it was the drop ship that crashes later in the movie, or if that firefight, because
Bishop. Yeah, because then it starts a meltdown, right?
Yeah, and that eventually destroys it. So I don't know if it was the shootout or the crash that caused it. But regardless, like that entire decision-making tree, like nobody thought that one through. Even from a non-military perspective, we'd be like, oh, potential hostiles, and we're going to take away 90% of our firepower, and we're going to load it onto one dude. That's just a bad idea from the beginning.
Yeah, like how he was like, the whole thing would be like, okay, well, one, like you said, if you had to take out your ammo, you're not going in. But say the most retarded thing in the world happens, and you have to go in. Just take your freaking ammo out, put it back on your kit, and keep it out of your stuff. But that way, it's like it's at least ready to go if you have to have it. But then instead, he's like, "I want you to collect like magazines and grenades from everybody." And it's like,
why?
Yeah, it's like, what are they, children? But apparently, I guess we see that they are, because it's like they're just fucking firing at everything in sight. This is like, oh, okay, maybe that's why you had them collect ammo from everybody.
Yeah, and I'm going to say this from the National Guard perspective is. We did a lot of work, like in civilian settings where we had to have ammunition, and we had different readiness levels. So I wouldn't tell you to take your ammunition and put it out. I would tell you it's going to be amber, or like, hey, you're going to keep your weapon on safe, and you're only going to present it with danger.
Yeah, and it was like you always had the different conditions, right? Like you had like basically oh, I'm trying to remember the military.
Yeah,
because amber was where it was like you had a mag loaded, but you didn't have it in the chamber.
Yeah.
Then you had I think it was like red and black was obviously out, but yeah, it was like red was like ready to roll and everything. So
yeah, so it's poor decision making, top to bottom, easiest ambush to have avoided from the beginning.
Yeah,
and then they could have just broken contact. Like what? We've torn them apart enough on this scene.
Yeah, there's so much to rip apart in that scene. It's just kind of like, my God, man, my head.
All right, so a little bit of we're gonna give them some kudos. This next scene, I don't think there's a lot wrong with it, and we're gonna get into the sci-fi aspect because we don't really have a weapon system that's like this. We're gonna talk about the sentry guns now.
The good news. We got 4 of these robot sentries.
Do your thing, baby. Come on, Vasquez. Let's get the hell out of here. Hudson here. A and B sentries are in place and keyed.
Roger. Stand by. Arming now. Test it, Hudson.
Do it.
Fire in the hole!
What is it? What's going on?
They're coming.
Where?
In the tunnel. Here we go. A and B gun tracked and fired. Multiple targets.
Those ammo counters go.
B gun's down 50%.
Man, it's a shooting gallery down there.
60 rounds left on B. 40. 20. 10. B guns dry. 20 on A. 10. 5.
That's it. Jesus, they're wall to wall in there.
They're at the pressure door.
Just a really cool scene.
That was very cool.
I mean, I don't have a ton to critique there other than why do you have everybody clustered around the monitors?
Yeah, it's not really any. I mean, I guess it's like you can always kind of. imagine, though. It's like, because everybody wants to see what's going on, but sometimes it's like, you just can't have everybody like clustered around the monitor. But I mean, from the sci-fi aspect, it's pretty cool. Like, I don't know how practical it'll be in real life, but I feel like we're in an age now where it's like with AI and all kinds of crazy shit. I'm sure they're probably gonna have something akin to that soon or something.
Yeah.
But
Look, I think the only reason we don't see things like that is people are just hesitant to like weaponize AI, because the second one person does it, it's just gonna skyrocket, right?
yeah, I mean, we already have targeting systems even in my current job where it's like the stuff it'll be kind of like the thing where it's like, now, okay, so that's something I can critique is like their placement of those guns. I think they could have spread them out a little more. And I saw one that was like traversing like into the wall. Like, I'm assuming if you have this kind of technology, it's like you actually can like give it like a sector of fire. Like, I know, like when we had like those crow guns on top of the trucks and stuff like that, it's like you can program them to like, like bounce around for sectors of fire. And if these are really sentry guns, it's like you should be able to control that. But
yeah, I noticed that too. I think I'm not, not trying to completely defend it. I think that was supposed to be a split hallway, so it was like watching this hallway and then it was coming back. But you already have two guns, so have one watch this hallway and one watch that hallway.
I think that was probably the only thing I can critique. And like, honestly, like you said, it's like with the sci-fi aspect, you always got to be able to expand your mind a little bit. And then you got to also remember, it was like, this was the 80s. It was 80s tech that, it's like I don't think they ever dreamed back in the 80s that like we were going to have some of the crazy shit that we got now. So
100%. Yeah. And the only thing that we didn't cover, and we talked about it a little bit, like prior to that scene, they escape, they try and get to their bird, and an alien like ambushes them inside the.
Oh, I thought you were going to show that one, dude. That was a classic where it's like you said, the unattended bird.
Yeah.
Like, and that, and it's like, in that one dude like doesn't say anything. He like gets on the bird and there's like slime, like goop all over it and stuff. It's like that didn't tip you off that something might be wrong. Like, even maybe you had like a freaking chemical spill going on inside the bird. I don't know, but it's like that's just not something that's like just there.
Yeah, and the only reason I didn't is I couldn't find that clip to strip for this without doing something illegal. So couldn't do it. I'm sorry, but yeah, there's no security around that bird. So like you get a hostile on the aircraft, and it kills your two pilots, and then it crashes the aircraft, and now you're stuck there. And that's like they send Bishop off to go get the other bird remotely, which goes back again. Why don't you have somebody on the ship?
Yeah,
like, I still don't get why. Sure, you might have all this automation in place. It still makes sense to have somebody on the ship for the worst case scenario, right?
None of these decisions make any sense. And then I was also seeing too where it's like, okay, so Ripley. Okay, so the way, spoiler, I guess we're going to talk about most of this, but it was like the way that they end up escaping is Ripley like freaking taking control of the APC and basically crashing it into there so they can all break contact and get out. Some of them are killing each other because they freaking are shooting the aliens or exploding acid and shit everywhere. But yeah, like I was kind of wondering, it's like, I think the little girl, like Newt, says something about it, but it's like, okay, they just escaped the reactor, they busted out. Yes, their bird crashed and everything like that, but are they really going to be safer? I don't know if there's maybe any evidence that these things even leave the compound. Like, I mean, like it seems like the things are like stuck in there because that's like their nesting site. So why not just use the APC and just get as far away from the site as humanly possible? Like, we're talking like many terrain features away from the site, and then try to like get some sort of a bird out from there instead of, oh, well, we know that this is basically like a hostile nest. Let's just go back into the very center of it and then just try to seal ourselves in with 360 surround. It's like that. I don't know. That kind of always bothered me too.
Yeah, and I think their justification is because like Ripley runs over aliens and she like blows the axle out of it so it doesn't move anymore. But,
okay, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, but I don't know where the vehicle ends. I assume it's somewhere outside because the next scene is them running outside and the bird crashes.
Yeah.
But if it's outside, you have those two main giant gun systems. I imagine you could keep off a lot of enemies if you just set up a perimeter.
Yeah.
You could even use these little sentry guns and you'd have a killing field. You don't have, like, if you're outside and you're in an open space, you have the advantage at that point of having ranged weapons, right?
Yeah,
so maybe,
exactly.
Maybe you got stuck in the tunnel, but they never tell you. So
it makes it all the way out. Remember, it's like Ripley bursts all the way through the outside door. She drives them all the way to their drop site.
Yeah, so then there's no reason.
And we've already seen too that it's like these things have no real ability to get in to the thing. I mean, maybe if they pile enough of them on, it's like that. But it's like if need be, it's like just seal yourselves in there and try to drive off. Like,
yeah,
I mean, they could have drove way far away, especially like. And then here's another tactical blunder. It's like, so now you're under assault from like an unknown number of enemies. She bursts loose from the compound, but then they have their bird come to land like right there on site, like next to the compound where there's multiple hostiles to pick them up. It's like, now I'm starting to wonder, it's like, okay, was this bird parked right next to the compound? Is that how like the alien got on board the thing? Because that's the only evidence that they leave the compound, is that there was one on the ship. But
yeah, it had to be somewhere nearby, because
yeah,
I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, if they had the APC even outside, you already have the advantage, because you have the front little gun, and then you have that big turret thing that comes up, and then you have these sentry guns. You have 4 of them.
Yeah.
And then you still have, at this point, like, what is it, 5 people?
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason. And I imagine the APC has communication.
Yep.
So that cuts out the entire need for Bishop to crawl through the tunnel to go get the other bird remotely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. It doesn't line up.
No, the whole thing of going back in there, knowing that this is like ground zero for hostiles. I mean, like, if you were to equate that to a real world mission, it's be like, okay, we're going to go in for a hostage rescue. Okay, we go in there, the hostages are all dead. So now we're going to have this giant clusterfuck gunfight or something like that. And then we finally break out of the building. We break through the enemy's defenses. We've cut through their line and we're out to escape. And then our bird crashes. And then we just go, well, guess the safest place to go would be back into that building that we were just under assault from. Like, that would probably be the best thing to do. And then we'll just go seal ourselves inside.
Yeah. And, there's somebody's going to say, well, technically the reactor and the town are two slightly different. They don't really give you an idea in the movie, like how close these two are. And just the fact that you can see the reactor from where they are defensively tells me that they're pretty close. And I'm not going to set up right next door to the nest.
And think about what they did too. It was like, so at that point, the bird crashes. Like you said, I don't know if the APC broke down or if they drive it back. But somehow it's like they get back. If the APC's broken down, that means that they walked back into that building on foot. So it's like, that's even fucking stupider. It's like
you're carrying 4 sentry guns. I can't imagine those things are super light.
Oh no! Or they just left them or like if they dragged them in, then they just left them in the command post where they had them. But it's like at that point, that place is overrun with these freaks. It's like, and you're just gonna waltz back in there on foot and go back to your place that's got 360 surrounded. You know that they're coming on every direction because you're already setting up the sentry guns. It's like, so you just pin yourself in.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So the next one, I think the next one is what you're referring to, coming out of the ceiling. So this is the defense. This is their last stand. So we're going to do this, and then we got the retreat.
7, 6.
Can't be, that's inside the room.
It's reading right, man. Look.
Well, you're not reading it right.
5 meters, man. 4. What the hell?
Oh my god. Give me the light.
Do something!
That's painful. So I'll let you start on this one. I have a very unique take on this, but I'll let you start on it.
Oh boy. So again, trigger discipline. Like Hicks sees the enemy coming. First off, it's like you would think that you would have thought of that. Like, I mean, I don't know. But then like Hicks falls out of the ceiling and just opens up. He doesn't say anything. Then they start coming out of the ceiling. And then it's just like sort of like a wild like firing. Like there's so many things where it's like they're just moving around each other and just like firing wildly at everything that's like coming. And then it's like Hicks even said like a couple times, he's like, fall back. And like nobody's even attempting to fall back. Like they're just like, yeah. And then I still, it's like, even though it's ridiculous, I still love Hudson though. Like standing in front of all of his guys that probably could have been covering him a little bit better, and is like, come on, motherfucker, yeah, you too, yeah, you bitch, come on, bud. Like, okay.
He had his redemption arc.
Yeah, he did. I really liked that part. I was like, get it, bro, get it. Until
He got his last nut out before everything. My critique is, and this is gonna be you and I are gonna relate to this. And I'm gonna break it down for anybody who's listening who's not military. If you have units that work in urban elements often, and you train for urban elements, which for the Colonial Marines they would have to, because they make it sound like they go to these colony type missions often.
Yeah.
So you train for these colonies. In a urban element, you don't exist in a 2D environment. You get taught very early on to teach all your new guys that it's a 4D environment. It's up, down, there's things beyond walls, there's areas, and to the point where modern military units, if they're highly trained, they don't even really treat doors as doors anymore. What they do is they'll make spider holes and mouse holes, which are holes in walls and floors or ceilings that you can traverse through an environment without being seen by the enemy. What that comes down to is you start thinking of things like, what's above this ceiling? Does it go to another room, or is it a dead space, like is what we saw here? Mm-hmm. So for these guys to work in these colonies all the time and not have thought of tunnels or dead space, like even modern office,
like 360, 720
appeal. And I mean, even modern office buildings, you see those panel ceilings, that there's dead space between there and here. So
and dudes fire at you from places like that and shit. It's like especially like when you like think about like Iraq and Afghanistan, not so much Afghanistan because it's just like the buildings are just not the same there, but like with like Iraq and things, it's like if you hit like some of those office buildings and stuff, it's like if some asshole can shove himself up, even if he knows he's gonna die, if some asshole can shove himself up into some place like that, like a pipe or a ceiling panel or something like that, and fire down with the hope of killing just one of your guys, he's going to do it. So you have to be like, you can't just be looking straight forward. It has to be head on a swivel all the time. And it didn't make a whole lot of sense that it was like, they're like, arc welding door shut and stuff like that. But it's like, you didn't even think to check this. It's like, you can see their panels on the ceiling. That there's dead space there. Like,
and
so
they come back and I think at one point somebody mentions it might have been in the scene, I missed it, but they're like, it must not have been on the floor plan. It's like, yeah, but logically we know that conduits go someplace.
Yes.
So how do you get into a room if you're not using a door? It doesn't take that much to think about it. Granted, maybe they're like exhausted and panicked, but I don't buy it from the point that they probably have been trained to do these colony missions. So this should be a common thing, especially like you talked, if you're talking about fighting an enemy that's shooting back, then you're thinking about these things from that point of view. So
and also it's like if so there's been no indication that the motion sensors are wrong or have any sort of false hits. I mean, like they're going off from like gerbils moving and stuff, but now they're showing this like these things are moving and they are coming through the perimeter and inside the room. They already were saying like fall back and stuff, fall back to medical. The moment that they had that happen where it was like they felt like the perimeter should have been or caught breached, they should have already been like fucking like pulling back in there like very quietly, but like try to get back in there and like start pulling back. Instead they start questioning like Hudson's integrity. they're like, are you retarded? You're not reading it right. I'm like, pretty sure the guy knows what numbers look like, and they're coming towards him, and it's pretty easy machine to read. And instead of like doing something about it, making some kind of a decision, his corporal's like, well, you're not reading it right. It's like,
and,
okay.
For as much of a jokester that Hudson is, he hasn't wrong at any point. Earlier on when he had the readings, he was right. Secondary, still right during the ambush, right? So there's no reason at this point to think that Hudson's, all faults included. There's no reason to doubt him at this point.
He's actually other than his whining sometimes, like the game over, man, stuff like that. Like it's like sometimes he needs maybe like a little bit of slap to the face. But when you see the things that he's doing, like he was the one who hot-wired that door for the mechanical entry to the building. He was the one setting up the sentries. He's like making comms. It's like he's actually a fairly competent individual. So for all like the bluster and stuff like that, he actually kind of knows his job. So it's for you to, instead of making like trusting what he's saying, that it's like, dude, that's inside the room, that means they breached the perimeter. Instead, you're like, oh, you're just retarded and you're not reading it right. Like, no, he knows how to read the thing.
Yeah, wrong time to doubt Hudson at that point. If they were going to have him like that level, they should have had him have a misreading somewhere else. I'm not going to ding it for the
maybe they're just in a state of denial. I don't know, but like it definitely cost him on that, because he could have immediately said if he's like 6, they're like, that's inside the room. He's like 5 meters. I'm telling you, it's 5 meters. They can be like, all right, pull back to medical, and then immediately started pulling back to give themselves a little bit of credit.
And I don't know, I don't understand the way they use their weapon systems either. Not talking about shooting from the hip, but like you have a underslung 30 millimeter pump action grenade launcher. So you have multiple grenades inside your, which is a force multiplier. And they use it like once or twice in that scene. I cut it off.
I know Vasquez uses it at one point, but it's like when she's like basically the only one left in the door, she starts pumping out these grenades, and it's like, man, y'all should have like been across the room, like behind some kind of cover, and like just like lighting those things off.
Yeah, I mean, in all reality, like you probably could have held that room just, laying down suppressive fire with grenades, which is what grenade launchers are intended to do.
Yes.
You could have plastered that ceiling and made it impossible for them to have dropped down that close. Like the second you knew they were out there, plop, bloop.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they could have freaking started shooting those things into the ceiling and stuff like that while those things were still kind of vulnerable, like in that position. Because I mean, until they drop down, they're kind of stuck up there.
Yeah, so once they're funneled in, like you have an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so the last scene we have is the retreat.
Which way now? That way. No, wait, this way. You sure?
Vasquez, move!
Right over here. It's just over here. We're almost there. No, wait! No!
Vasquez! Go!
Newt! Up there's a shortcut across the roof. Hicks!
You always were an asshole, Gorman.
Poor Gorman goes out a hero.
Yeah, that was a good redemption stuff. But there was also some problems.
Oh yeah, I'll let you take it then.
Okay, so the whole thing about like breaking contact is not getting a break in contact with your own guys, and the fact that it was like, so one, Vasquez is like laying down suppressive fire for him, which is cool, but these things also look like they are, one, they're not shooting at you. They're animals. They're not shooting at you. They're moving semi slow through the systems and stuff too. It doesn't look like they're moving too insanely fast. So I feel like at that point, it's like your speed is probably going to be your security in that position. It's like outrun them, run, like, use speed to your advantage. But Vasquez is doing this kind of weird shit of like swaying the thing. I guess maybe like ricocheting rounds. I have no idea, but yeah. So, but then it was like, then they just like leave her behind. She's like their cover, and then all of a sudden there's like, you just see like Hicks and Gorman. They're like, "Where's Vasquez?" It's like, yeah, way to fuck your buddy. like she was the one freaking like laying down like the freaking hate for you guys and stuff while you guys are running, and then all of a sudden it's like she gets balled up, and you're like, "Oh, where'd she go?" Like, yeah, nice job on that one, Corporal. Yeah. But at least like Gorman went back, and then Vasquez got to tell him what she thought of him like right before they went out. So
yeah, so I'll give him this, like, in my head, and based on all the video games that came out, I imagine the movie just couldn't make them move as fast as they wanted. So I'll give them this, that maybe the aliens move faster than what we think they do. And they had the advantage. But yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like, you can still kill it and then move. You don't have to suppress it.
Yeah.
And then I think it's interesting that, it's all the way in the future, but the Browning high power and the BP-7 for some reason.
that was, I even was like saying that to myself, like when she pulled out her pistol and she like took the one down, I was like, I love to see that it's like a freaking 1911 is still laying down some hate in the future.
And the BP-7, which is like such a weird gun to include.
Yeah, that old HK and stuff like that. It's like such a. I feel like maybe they like, one is like the Marines can't let go of the 1911, so let's just like, they just can't. But yeah, that one is kind of, maybe they thought that it's like it just kind of looked futuristic or something at the time, so they're like, what would be a futuristic looking firearm to have in this, and then they just kind of chose that one.
And so what I enjoy, and this is not a tactical point, but when they show the up close of Gorman shooting the other one, you see rounds bounce off the skull. So we know that the aliens aren't just like taking, it's like one shot and they just drop down. It's like they're kind of bulletproof to some degree.
It kind of looks like it, right? Like it's, I mean, when it has the rifles, it looks like it's doing some pretty decent damage. But yeah, like when you see him shooting the one, it looks like, I can't tell if it's just the 80s movie trying to make ballistics where it's like it makes it look like you're just seeing the impacts, but they're definitely not easily killed. Like when Vasquez gets, the one drops down on her, she dumps like her entire magazine on it, like even like in his head, and it's still flopping and moving around and stuff. So they're definitely not easily taken down.
Yeah, but we saw the same problem that you mentioned. Like, so they leave Vasquez. They did that in the ambush scene too, because they turn around, they're like, "Hey, where's Grabowski? How do you not know where your dude is?"
Yeah, it's like, where's so and so? Where's so? It's like, dude, you should have visual contact of your guys at any point. If you are losing visual that's why it's like, I mean, urban environments are challenging. Like, they're always going to have a challenge. But that's one of your like big fears sometimes when you're outside, like in a forest environment, is when you're doing squad attack, is losing visual contact or verbal contact with your buddy. Because once you get split and you can't see each other, shit gets really scary, because you don't know if he's heading into your lane, you're heading into his, he's heading off into bumfuck nowhere, or the gunfight's not even happening right now. So but yeah, like they got clear lines of sight. There's no reason that they should be losing any kind of visual or verbal contact with their buddies.
Yeah, and especially in this particular situation, it's a tunnel, dude. You got two directions to go. Like, How did you
Where's
lose?
Vasquez? It's like, oh, you outran her while she was freaking laying down Scunyon, and you guys just decided to beat feet.
Yeah. So.
And that always frustrated me that they like just like sort of like they're like hurry it up. It's like she's the one laying down the base. You are moving as fast as she is moving.
Yeah.
It's like that's the whole thing is like moving as fast as your base of fire is moving. So it's like especially like during like retreat, it's like you don't if you had like a heavy weapon and you had to break contact, you don't just like that heavy weapon is going to take some time to break down for a sec, pick up, run back, set down, do all that stuff. It's like what you don't do is you don't like think about yourself moving back as fast as you can and then ditching your stuff. It's like you're moving with that element.
Yeah, and that goes back to that discipline and that like lack of training because like when you practice those things, like from just a buddy team perspective, when you move, you tap them and you say last man, and that's the last person. So now I'm picking up and moving, and you go back and forth, and it's just that.
And like or like you're bounding, like bounding back and stuff like that. It's like you only bound for a certain amount of time, and then you stop and you let your other retreating elements bound back along with you. So it's like you're not leaving each other. You're always seeing that visual thing. But on this, it's like she's the only one fitting in that tunnel, and so she's like laying down the base of fire. But then these guys are just like, hurry it up! And they just like take off running. It's like, nice job, you screwed her really bad.
And they never cover like how much they're carrying of any of their gear, but there's only 2 scenes I recall where they use like hand grenades, not like the pump actions. It's this scene, and like I've seen that was cut out where Ripley kills Burke with a hand grenade because he has a chest burster inside of him.
Oh, I didn't see that scene.
Yeah, you have to like hunt it down. I don't think
she stuffed it in his mouth. I hate that little fucker.
No, she hands it to him because he's like crying for her, and she gives that to him. And then, actually, if you watch the theatrical cut, there's a scene where she's like running away, like during the Queen scene, and there's like an explosion that rocks her, and she gets scared. And that was supposed to be Burke blowing himself up.
Oh, but, okay.
Yeah, you can find it on YouTube. I don't know which cut it ever got into, or if it even got into a cut, but it's on YouTube if you want to look it up.
Okay.
But if you have hand grenades, man, it makes that tunnel scene way more easy.
Oh, yeah. Just go around the corner of the tunnel, and it's like as they're coming, just toss one down there and just go. It's like that is your cover.
Yeah, I'm like, why didn't they use those? Like, there's so many other scenes where like the grenades would have made so much more sense.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
like I couldn't tell. It's like I almost thought that it's like the grenades that they were using. They weren't necessarily they were almost like the grenades that they were using in their pulse rifles, but they could also come out and then like pop the top and be used as a hand grenade too. I can't really tell.
Yeah, I think that's the intention. Because like I built the armor and like I have the pulse rifle with me.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's what their intention was, but they never explicitly tell you in the movie.
Yeah, it kind of lets it to your own imagination type of thing.
Yeah, so I think that is what it is. But
again, then it comes back to the thing you were talking about too, how it's like they have these grenades in the thing. It's like, okay, so I remember Vasquez like wastes all her grenades like they're in the cover while they're like going into medical. It probably would have, I mean, maybe they didn't know that this was the deal, but it's like she should have saved those for like when they got in the tunnel, because then that would have been the ultimate cover. Now it's like you're in there, you're just going, you start seeing them coming, just pop a grenade down there and let it blow up and blow all of them to bits. And then,
what about Hicks? Like, does he, like, he never used his grenades in any of the scenes. Does he not have grenades? But he has a pulse rifle.
Yeah. It's like, and all of them looked like they had grenades maybe on their belt or something, but it's like, why would you have a grenade launcher if you don't have any grenades with it? That's just dead weight at that point.
Yeah, I think it's the on their shoulders, that strap that comes down with the silver and red. I think that's their grenades.
Okay.
So yeah, no excuse not to use their grenades. Anything else you want to say tactically? Because that's pretty much the last military scene. After that, it's pretty much just Ripley like rescuing the little girl and the evacuation. We all know how it ends. She's the hero.
Ripley's pretty fucking cool though.
Yeah, one of the best sci-fi female characters, and
I almost say this like action wise, she's probably the ultimate like action heroine. Like to me, I can't really think of any other ones that come close. And I felt like one of the things that was cool about her was that she didn't do anything that was actually super unbelievable.
Yeah.
I guess like you see some of these things where it's like Black Widow is like, oh, Scarlett Johansson, she's like 110 pounds soaking wet, but she's beating the shit out of like these like 400-pound like Russian gorillas or something. It's like, yeah, that's a no for me, dog. But it's like, with Ripley, it was just kind of cool because it's like she just does things where it's like she's using her head. She's got like where she duct tapes the flamethrower and the pulse rifle together. She's pretty fucking badass, and I like her a lot. Like anytime like we were like, who's your favorite like heroine in a movie? It's like, dude, it's Ellen Ripley. It's not going to be anybody else.
I think that especially between the two movies, she's just like in the first movie, she's just somebody who does her job really well.
Yeah,
and she's eventually break it down. It's a space trucker, but she does her job right and she knows the right and wrong, and she's the only rational person through that movie. And then in Aliens, like we get that development and a little bit of that maternal development for her. It was a great arc, and it sucks that the way Alien 3 happened.
There is no Alien 3. There is no Alien 3.
I mean, this isn't the point of the conversation, but I enjoy Alien 3 just for like the drama in it. But I think it could have been a much better movie had they just waited for the right script instead of rushing to try and make a quick buck. And then
how many?
That was Resurrection. So
how many like how many movies or like how many just sequels and stuff like that have just been like absolutely like bastardized because it's like they just couldn't wait to get it out. But I think sometimes you also see too that it's like one of the things that happens with movies is they're waiting for that script or they're waiting for this or waiting for that, and then they end up in that development hell thing, and then they just get stuck there forever and it never happens.
So like I hate to say it because I've read so much about the movie. Like so the guy who played Hicks was supposed to be in Alien 3. He dropped out because he got tired of all the rewrites, and the script went through script hell. Which if that's what comes down to it, just don't make the movie until the time is right. And I don't think it was right.
I don't think and then didn't they pay him for like his likeness just to fucking kill him?
I can't remember.
I saw his podcast. Like Michael Biehn has a podcast, and he was talking about how like they paid him a whole bunch of money at one point because they were going to use his likeness. And then he said like he was like, yeah, sure, whatever. They paid him his like sums and stuff like that, and then he didn't work on the movie. And then he said like somebody, I think it was a friend or a producer he knew or something like that, was like saw like basically like the crash scene with like his dead corpse in there and stuff like that, and they killed him. And he said he was super pissed off about it. Like he was like, are you kidding me right now? Like it's like that was the arc for him, like being the only Marine that survived it, just to like die in a crash on a penal colony.
They didn't do him any honor by that, and then they tried to do a retcon by doing Aliens Colonial Marines where like it wasn't him. It's a nightmare of a script. I don't recommend it because that game was broken when it came out, but like Fox didn't want to commit and say that was canon or not because of how poorly the game did.
That sucks too, because like they had a lot of opportunities with that Alien versus Predator game. I still have that one.
The old one or the
the old one.
From like
where you can be the Marine and stuff like that. And it's like it's pretty cool. It still has some good scare to it and stuff. It's pretty awesome.
I can't wait for them to revamp that game on Steam one day. It's gonna happen. It has to Well, Chris, this has been awesome, and we are really into this. So
way over time.
It's okay. Can you go ahead and just remind the audience who you are and where we can find your books?
Yeah, my name is Christopher Michael. You can find my books on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere that they're sold. I write the Danforth series, and you can find me also on X at Chris_M_author. And hope you enjoy it.
Chris, thank you so much. I'm going to have all the links down below. And everybody, thank you so much for sitting through with us. Tell us what you think in the comments. Tell us where we're right. Tell us something that we forgot. Until next time, stay frosty.